Hello and welcome to the Season 9 finale of The Wave. I'm Trey.
And I'm Danny. We're so excited to get The Wave's Christmas special started.
That's right, but before we go any further, let's meet this week's featured artist, Carter Elliott.
Hi, my name is Carter Elliott, and I'm from Pearl, Mississippi. So I'm kind of inspired by like James Taylor, Paul Simon, Randy Newman, Joni Mitchell. Genesis is one of my favorite progressive rock bands of all time. Some of my favorite jazz pianists are like Herbie Hancock, Ahmad Jamal, Chick Corea, and in the classical, I really love Schubert. So the music making process for me varies per song. When it comes to like instrumental music, so a lot of the times I just like to make stuff up and then just put it together later and see how it flows. For more traditional singer-songwriter things, I'm often inspired by people and their conversations. You know, as it stands right now, I'm really feeling like my favorite show has been The Basement on my birthday. My friends showed up. It was my first like legitimately full band show. I had a band backing me up. So I've been thinking a lot about my goals as an artist recently, and they definitely have changed, but at the crux of it, I've always wanted to record and tour. As an artist, I would definitely love to start to get my tracks cut in a way that I see fit, and hopefully I'll be able to compile some videos from previous performances, make a little EPK, and start hitting the road with the band, get my music out in front of larger audiences. I'd like to go across the country and do that. Basically, I like making music because I like to, make stuff sound good. I want other people to hear the good stuff I'm making, right? That's kind of the end goal.
All right, and we are back here with Carter Elliott.
Hello.
Hello, thank you so much for sitting down with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course.
Yep, so let's dive right into the interview.
Uh-oh.
So you have a graduation show tomorrow at Hop Springs. What can we expect from this performance?
So you're expecting a full band. I've performed a couple of full band shows over the past calendar year, but this is going to be the greatest one. It's also going to be the one with the most amount of substance. We've got a relatively full set. I'm going to be working with my preferred bassist and guitarist, Garrett Tonos and Josh Garner, respectively. And I've got a new drummer in the mix that I've played with live one time. His name is Slade Moore. He is incredible. He also plays with people like Munkin and Wispelia. And I will also have backing vocalists for the very first time of any kind of substance. Anna Shinholster and Josh Garner will be singing. Anna Shinholster will be opening, but we're going to be rocking out. Most of them are my originals. We've got a couple of surprise covers in there.
Yeah.
We're really just aiming to have a fun time.
Yeah, it'll be a great show though.
It's going to be
exciting.
Very fun.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of fun and a lot of people involved too.
Yes. Love collaborating with all of those people. So
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I want to dig into your past a little bit. So you spent some time studying in Dallas.
Yes,
Tell me about that experience. How was that for you?
So I studied for 2 years at the University of North Texas. My major was jazz piano performance, and I mean, there is a reason that I moved to Middle Tennessee State University, and that was mainly because MTSU had a commercial songwriting program, and I really wanted to delve into that. But when I was in Texas, I was focused on music, piano, more piano. Jazz was one of those things that I was deeply in love with as a kid, and to some extent am still in love with today. But the experience was very much like traditional piano lessons with combo bands, or they call them lab bands. They're basically big bands, but they call them lab bands. They're from 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock, and 1 o'clock is the biggest, not the biggest, but it's the most prestigious of the 8 lab bands. I don't know if they've pared it down to 7 by now, but they've been Grammy nominated. I started out in the 3 o'clock lab band as a freshman, worked my way up to the Latin Jazz Lab, and ended up in the 4 o'clock with some really wonderful directors across the board. It was very much jazz-oriented. I came here because I could not see myself doing jazz for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And but I still love playing it. I still love improvisation. I love making stuff up on the fly, and that is the part of jazz that appeals to me, just like some unbridled creativity. And that's what my old piano instructor tried to draw out of me as well. His name is Dave Meter. He's an incredible guy.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you had a great time there, though.
Oh, yeah.
And you learned how to use some of the things you learned there to apply it to, your future self. So
Yes.
That's always good.
Absolutely.
And you were telling us backstage earlier about how your performance tonight is inspired by the piano album that you just put out at
Yes.
long last at the piano. What inspired you to do like a full piano album?
So when I was staying at the University of North Texas, I stayed in dorms that had pianos in the practice rooms. They were very music heavy like that, and they had pianos in some of the practice rooms. And in times when I wasn't doing so great, I would go down there and just like play. And sometimes I'd put my phone on the piano or by the piano and record voice memos. This summer I had a job that was pretty purgatorial, to be honest. And I was always constantly searching for music to listen to. And so I started going through my voice memos out of sheer boredom. And I found some of those and I was like, why don't I do this again? So I contacted Professor Bill Crabtree over here at MTSU, and I contacted one of my favorite engineers, Allison Wildrick, and Professor Crabtree gave us some time for me to just sit at the piano and play. If you go through the track listing of At Long Last, tracks 1 and 14, the first and the last, are the only ones that were pre-composed. Those were kind of around 2022, 2023. The rest of it was made up on the fly.
Wow.
And I'm really glad that it's out. You should probably expect a second volume
Ooh,
with different
Okay.
songs but the same vibe in February.
we'll be waiting. We'll keep
I'll be
an eye
waiting
on
too.
it.
Well,
So-
Sitting on my hands.
Speaking of them checking it out, would you like to let the audience know where they can find your music at and where they can find you at on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. So my Instagram, which I use the most frequently, is Carter Elliott Music. If you spell Elliott with one T, you get the wrong person. Spell it with two T's. CarterElliott Music. And you can check me out on Spotify and Apple Music as Carter Elliott. You'll find 6 singer-songwriter singles as of right now. I'm working on more, and the piano album under that profile.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And we'll be right back with music news. Kendrick Lamar has had a huge year, from dissing Drake to being announced to headline the Super Bowl halftime show to dropping a new album to now announcing a stadium tour. Lamar and co-headliner SZA took to social media to announce the Grand National Tour, set to kick off in stadiums across America in April of 2025 and conclude in June. If the pairing of SZA and K-Dot seems a bit confusing, it's really not. The two spent years as label mates at Top Dog Entertainment and are frequent collaborators. SZA was featured on 2 songs on Lamar's recent #1 album, GNX, with one of the songs, Luther, debuting at #3 on the Billboard Hot 100. The pair also famously collaborated on the top 5 hit, All the Stars, for the Black Panther soundtrack back in 2018. The two work great together, and I'm sure will put on an even better tour. Are you excited to see the two stars next year?
Billboard has unveiled their greatest pop star of the 21st century list, with Beyoncé coming in at the #1 spot. This list sparked some controversy though, where Swifties and the Beehive have been debating on who really deserved that top spot. Fans were going back and forth over sales, live performances, the artist's music, and cultural impact. Billboard came forward and said, while Taylor Swift is the century's biggest pop star by numbers, from album sales to streams to touring dominance, our editorial staff has chosen Beyoncé as our #1 greatest pop star of the century, based on her full 25 years of influence, evolution, and impact. Do you agree with Billboard's choice? Let us know who you think should have been crowned the greatest pop star of the 21st century. Spotify Wrapped just came out last Wednesday, and we are so excited to talk about our Wrapped.
Of course. So Danny, let's start off. Who are your top 5 artists this year?
My top 5, they were all the pop girls. So we have #1, Dua Lipa, #2, Ariana Grande, #3, Renee Rapp, 4, Olivia Rodrigo, and 5, Taylor Swift. Who is your top 5?
My top 5, which this should be no surprise if you've seen our other 4-year playlist segments, Mariah the Scientist was my #1. I love some Mariah the Scientist. I really wanted her to drop another album this year, but she didn't, but that's okay. She gave us one last year. #2 is Nicki Minaj, which is kind of funny because Nicki Minaj was always my #1 for like years and years, and now she's started slipping down the list a little bit these last few years. #3 was Lotto, Big Lotto. #4 was SZA, who I talk about today, going on tour with Kendrick.
Oh, yes.
And then #5 for me was Megan Thee Stallion, which I was a little shocked because I don't feel like I listened to that much Megan Thee Stallion this
Yeah.
year, but I guess I did.
I guess you did. It's okay.
Who was your
Rapp's
top song this year though?
My top song, real quickly, was Houdini by Dua Lipa. What was yours?
Mine was Boys Don't Cry by Mariah the Scientist.
Well, that puts a bow on this year's Spotify Wrapped. Let us know down below who was on yours.
And we will be right back with Carter Elliott. Thank you all so much for watching the Season 9 finale of The Wave. We hope to see you back next season.
As always, check out our Instagram and YouTube every Wednesday for new episodes. Anyways, this is my very final episode of The Wave. It's been an amazing 3 seasons, and I want to thank you all so much for giving me this platform. So to close out this week's episode,
He has a lot of talent if you couldn't tell it yet.
please give a hand for Carter Elliott.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks all bundled head to toe. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92.